And we're live. There we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final, maybe our final live show of the Grishaverse Readalong. So today we are talking about the final two books in the series, King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, which we are very excited to talk about. Everyone introduce yourselves and do your thing. Tell us what you rated it. Yeah. Is there any, your name, who you are, what you rated it.
Right.
Go ahead. Should I start? I'm so bad at these. Okay, hi, I'm Catherine. You are on my channel, Catherine Zofrey. I rated King of Scars 3.5 stars and Rule of Wolves 4 stars. 4.5 stars, something like that. Nicole.
Oh, yeah, that's my turn. I'm always at the end. Hi, I'm Nicole from Nicole Reads, and I love The Darkling. And when I first read King of Scars, I had given it 5 stars just because I was so sad and broken. But then thinking about it, I think it's a 3.5 star rate for me. And Rule of Wolves, I gave it 4 stars, I think. Let me check because, yeah, I give it 4 stars.
Hello, I'm Claire from Bookish Potatoes, and I also gave King of Scars 3.5 and Rule of Wolves 4. I'm still kind of processing that one, though. I only finished yesterday, but right now it's sitting at a 4 for me.
Is it Katie or me?
You.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Mare. My channel is Mare Reads. And I gave King of Scars a 2.5 star rating, but closer to a 2 than a 3. And I did not read Rule of Wolves because I didn't care to. I think I'm Grishaversed out, and I didn't want to read it and rate it low, knowing I was probably going to do that. So I didn't think it was fair to the book. Or to myself, if we're honest. Self-care.
Fair. Mm-hmm. And Katie.
And hi, I'm Katie from Katie Can't Read. I gave King of Scars like 3.5 down almost to a 3. And then I'm giving Rule of Wolves a 4.5. Even though it wronged me.
Even though it wronged you. Fun. Okay, so first things first, do we want to talk about some just general non-spoilery thoughts, things like that? What we generally thought of the plot. Also, people in the comments, feel free to tell us what you rated said books that we are discussing. Who wants to start?
Sarah, I want to hear your thoughts first.
Okay. I mean, I really don't have many thoughts on the book, the singular one that I read, because that was why I didn't want to continue, is I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I just didn't really care about anything that happened. There was a lot of just weirdness in the middle that I was kind of there for. And Leigh Bardugo, she had me hooked a chapter before it ended. And we all know what happened in that chapter. And then I just got angry. So I don't know. I'm what was the point of reading on, I guess, if the one thing I cared about didn't matter anymore, kind of thing.
Sure.
But those are my thoughts. My head's empty. I don't care about Nikolai. I don't care about Zoya. I couldn't care about them together. Sorry, Catherine. I don't care about Nina's chapter. It was a great crow, but what was she doing here? Why was she here? That's for my opinions first. True. I guess we started off negative, but yeah, I only care for Isaac, as my name implied.
And it's so funny to me because I feel like I had the completely opposite experience of you, where I cared about every character except for Isaac. And the middle stuff is the stuff that I was like, what is happening? I don't want this. Give me the regular plot.
When we get into spoilers, I just want to talk about what I loved. Just the one thing in particular.
For sure. And I do agree in terms of King of Scars. I think that the pacing was just really terrible in that book. I felt like it should have been 2 separate books.
Absolutely.
It should have been like Nina's story and then Nikolai and Zoya's story. I feel like it very easily could have been separated between the two. Yeah. And then I really loved the pacing in the first half of Rule of Wolves. So yeah.
I thought the pacing in Rule of Wolves was great all the way through. I was held. I mean, I was in pain, but I was held. And then I feel like Nina's POV at least could have ended after like chapter 8. I think if there had been like a novella about like her through about chapter 8, I would have been like happy, cheerful. But then I was like, I don't care about anything that's happening in your POV.
In King of Scars or Rule of Wolves?
Scars. In Rule of Wolves, she bought me back, but like in King of Scars, I don't care. Give me Nikolai, like the whole thing.
Yeah. King of Scars, it could have been a like completely different story, and it could have been so much more interesting for Nina's POV.
It feels like two books were shoved together in the worst way possible for King of Scars, and I don't enjoy it.
And the first 100 pages or so, maybe even more, I was so bored. Like, I had set aside, like, put down the book, because I picked it up when it came out, and it took me, like, over a year to pick it up again, because I was so bored with the first chapters. I was like, I don't care about Nina here. Like, I came into the book thinking we're going to get a lot of Nikolai, and then, like, we did, but we got as much of Nina, and I was like, I don't care. Like, why are you giving me this?
Because we came so hot off of, like, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, I feel like I saw Nina, and I was like, listen, Mare. And I was like, oh my gosh, more Nina, because I knew this was, like, the Nikolai Zoya book. And seeing Nina, I was so excited. And I feel like the first, like, 100, 200 pages of King of Scars, I was like, this is amazing. Best book so far. And then it just lost me. And then same with Rule of Wolves, but the opposite, where I felt like the first 100 pages or so, I was like, I'm bored. And then the book really picked up for me.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many things that should have been interesting about King of Scars that just weren't because of how bad it was paced. Like a lot of things individually, like the ending and like Nina being there and then the middle, like I think they're all interesting as a whole, but it just flowed in the most boring way humanly possible.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the pitfall of this entire duology was that she did so many POVs in Six of Crows and was like, that works. And then she gave all the POVs a different plot line and it fell apart immediately.
Yeah.
It made the POVs in Six of Crows as they were all going for the same thing. But then there was 5 POVs in King of Scars and each one of them was in a different place, except for sometimes with Zoya and Nikolai. But even sometimes they were in different places doing different things. So it was like that was the part that I think fell apart.
I feel like Rule of Wolves, like it put the POVs better together for the most part. I feel like they flowed a lot better. Things that were happening with Nina were happening better.
I can name 2 POVs that did not connect that.
That's why I said for the most part.
I feel like it's like what she
Nina, Nikolai, and Zoya.
Yeah. She amended the ones from King of Scars and then tried adding new ones, and it was the same problem where I was like, oh, I like these characters, but I don't feel like their storyline is fitting in with this book. I'd rather have like a separate book about these characters because I don't want to like dread their chapters, but you're taking me away from the things that I care about the most.
And I always thought there was such a long time of like how many chapters between each POV that by the time, like for Nina, for example, we'd go from one Nina POV. This is King of Scars specifically, and the other one I was better. But specifically in King of Scars, I would go from one Nina POV, then read like 6 chapters, and then we'd get back to her, and I will have completely forgotten what happened last time. So I was always like, what's going on?
I feel like,
also think,
oh no, go ahead, Nicole. No, just to say what you said. You go.
When one of the Nina chapters got really interesting, I was like, okay, I want to see what happens next. I flip the page and we have like Nikolai or Zoya, and I'm like, okay, Nina, I just forgot about you. I don't care. So I would just read about Nikolai and Zoya, and then when we got back to Nina, I was like, I don't care anymore. Like, now I want more Nikolai and Zoya. So it didn't really work well.
Yeah. I feel like what Paige said, I totally agree. Like, it was just jarring every switch. I was like, why? Just give me a different book. I'm realizing this might be an unpopular opinion. I wasn't bored of Nina's chapters. I actually really enjoyed them. But it was too jarring, that flip from like location and storyline and like objective and characters. It was just,
and even just the tone was different.
Yes.
Like Nina's chapters were so depressing in that I did cry to read them. I was like, girl, go to a list.
What are you everyone in all of these books just needs to go to therapy. Let's be real for a second.
Oh,
yeah, so okay, let's talk about spoilers. I feel like we're already kind of getting into spoilers, so spoilers. I got fancy. We can talk a little bit more about the like plot and writing style in a little more of a spoilery sense. So anyone who hasn't finished the books, bye.
Are we kicking you out, Mara?
I can give you like my spoiler King of Scars thoughts, and then I can
let's like King of Scars first, and then we'll go into Rule of Wolves and such.
I was just very upset about Isaac. My man, I finally had someone in the Grishaverse to hold on to and to care about. And then she took him from me immediately. So that was really, really sad for me because I was really enjoying his chapters. I love that he was like playing Nikolai, and I liked his little romantic tension going on with whatever her name was. I already forgot. And then they both, well, I don't think she died. She didn't die. She like tried to die.
Yeah.
But that upset me a lot. I really liked, the thing I liked in the middle was the talking dragon. That's so funny. I love that. But also, Claire's like, what? My thing is, I feel like it was so out of place though within the Grishaverse. I was like, why is there a dragon? And why is said dragon talking? Like we don't have talking Volcras. Why are we having a talking dragon all of a sudden? So I thought it was funny, and that's why I liked it, because it kept me entertained. But I was just like, world building who? Like, I don't know her. Let's destroy her. She's not important. But those are my only King of Scar thoughts.
I never really thought about the dragon in that sense. And like now that you say that, I'm like, that's why I didn't ever like the Shadowfold part. Because every time I'd read, I think this was my second time reading King of Scars. And when I read it the first time, I was like, this doesn't feel right. Nothing about this feels right. And it's because the Grishaverse always was like, it was high fantasy, but it felt like urban fantasy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like it felt grounded enough. And then all of a sudden it was like, ooh, magic, talking dragon, the saints are real, and you're in the fold. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
It just doesn't fit.
I had to reread that like a couple times for it to sink in. I was like, what is happening?
Your opinion on Isaac reminds me of all those people that like are in love with Juiced from Six of Crows.
They're like, ooh, can't wait to hear more about Juiced.
Okay, but Isaac had way more screen time than Juiced.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fair. It's like if Juiced had a reason to have a fan base, that's what you are for Isaac.
I loved him. So I was like, I don't want to read Rule of Wolves now, because what's the point?
The way I did not shed a single tear for Isaac. I was like, bye.
I did.
I felt like that TikTok, he's dead.
I was so invested in his romance storyline. I was like, oh, he's going to tell her that he's not Nikolai, and then she's going to understand, and they're going to run away and like live happily ever after. That is not what happened. Not at all.
No.
I think the Shining was the star of King of Scars for me, though. I agree with Mare, because he was funny Everyone else was so depressed, and then Isaac comes in and he's making me laugh, and I'm like, okay, he wins.
I just wanted depressed. I don't know what it was, but I did not. I not Isaac at all. Every time I saw it, yeah.
I love this page. Like Nina's chapter, agree her chapters are sad and slow, but I kind of loved it.
I sad and slow.
As much as the chapter where she buries Matthias makes me want to bawl my eyes out, I thought it was the best chapter that Leigh Bardugo's ever written. I was like, girl, serving.
That is the only thing in this past year that I have read that like produced an actual like tear from me. Because like my eyes water up when I'm reading. Like I cry where like my eyes are watery, but I had like a singular tear going down my cheek. And it was the moment where she realizes, oh, I'm so sad, that it was just like her own voice and he wasn't there. That one hurt me. Oh my God. That like brought a tear.
Oh God, they deserved better.
I was like, oh wait, this is kind of cool. Maybe her like magic is like allowing her to like communicate with him, and like she's gonna have to let him go, but at least she gets this closure. No, he was not there. He was gone.
Yeah. I agree.
Did you watch my vlog? There are tears in my wolves.
Me just sobbing my way through both books.
I'm not ready to talk about it yet.
We aren't there yet.
No, we aren't there yet. In the outline. Not ready yet. Okay.
No. we have dedicated time for Katie to cry.
Wait, we have an outline?
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm emailing it to you.
Catherine put so
I'm
much work
sorry.
into it.
I'm just so confused right now. Not with this, just in general with BookTube. My school life is just crazy.
Oh, you're good.
Valid.
It's okay. Nicole just woke up.
I emailed it to you.
True. I woke up 30 minutes before the live, so.
Hey, at least you read the book like almost 2 weeks
Are you
before
shading
the
me,
live.
Catherine? Are you shading me?
No, I'm saying I'm shading
you read the book.
At
Okay,
least
here's the thing.
Nicole.
I always read the books in a day. That has always been me. I read books in a day. But the difference was that Rule of Wolves had just come out. So obviously I was going to read it the day it was released. And the other books, they were a reread for me. So reading them on the live show, like the day of the live show, was a thing. But Rule of Wolves, like I just wanted to see what Leigh Bardugo was going to do with it.
I just love that for all the other books you read it day of the live show, and then this one you were the first one of like everyone in the entire world, basically.
It was the way that
like
Nicole
honestly,
the oldest video. If you search Rule of Wolves, she's #1, like oldest video.
Like the way I woke up and Nicole already had her review up.
No, honestly, I didn't sleep, obviously, reading the book, but I was like talking about my review and I was falling asleep. It was literally 7:30 a.m. for me. And I was just like, I can't. I just physically couldn't do it.
Wow. You did that to yourself.
I know. It was still a good experience because I know that if I would have waited, I probably wouldn't have finished the book.
It may have psychologically traumatized me, Rule of Wolves. I did write it on my favorite books of the year. So
I don't know. I like it a lot.
It made me feel things. Any book that makes me feel things wins.
I feel like more for you. Like the things that I was upset about were for you, Katie. Like the things that
I literally said that in my blog.
My friend.
I'm crying for Katie.
In my blog being like, I'm crying for Katie and her own mental being.
What's so funny is how I had already finished the book and I was on DM with Catherine and we were like, Katie's gonna cry a lot. We were just like, she's gonna cry for this.
I literally asked Nicole, I was like, okay, spoil the book for me. And then she told me what happened. And I was like, Katie.
my purchase. Look who it is.
Oh, cute. Yeah. Cried like a freaking baby. Same. Heartbroke for Katie for sure.
I cried
The
again.
way all of us were just upset for Katie.
Because none of us cared to that level.
I thought I was going to be fine. I was like, oh, I'm safe. All my faves are safe. And I was wrong.
Do we want to go into Rule of Wolves?
We're not ready for that yet. We can't cry yet.
We're not ready.
Do we have any more thoughts we want to talk about King of Scars?
I mean, I feel like the general consensus, it was a mediocre book.
Definitely
And
not.
was just a lead up to Rule of Wolves.
It was 500 pages of groundwork for a sequel. I was like,
And the fact that the groundwork is like the 6th book in the Grishaverse, it's like, do we really need all this? Like, we've been here.
I would have been okay with just a Nikolai standalone, you know, maybe like
Yeah.
Rule of Wolves, trim a lot of King of Scars, make it one book,
Yeah.
and then I'm good, you know?
I felt that way about 6 of Crows, too. Would have just been one book.
See,
I just hate how it's. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was thinking like I would have wanted like 3 shorter books though, where
Like
it was like a
rising,
like
No, because then I would have to pay $20 for each book. That's $60. No, thank you.
You know what
No.
it could have been? It could have been like a 1. This is gonna sound weird. A 1 and a 1.5, and then a 2. Where like you split King of Scars into like Nikolai, Zoya, Nina, and that way you get like Nikolai, Zoya, all that stuff. A Nina like novella that's kind of like in between, taking place at the same time. And you go into Book of 2 being like, great, I'm ready to see them all come together, instead of being so separated in one book. It was just weird.
or even like King of Scars, you know how there's like that halfway point in both King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, just have the first half be one character or whatever, and then have the second half be the other storyline.
Yeah.
It was
There are
the
other
thing where the storyline was so like broken up. That was the biggest problem for me.
I think it really was the execution. Like I understood where Leigh was going with the storyline, and I think it's interesting that she wanted to explore and show us as readers more about the Saints, because like, you know, I feel like so much of the books are based off of like the Saints, and like we hear so much about the Saints, and it's rare that you actually explore like what the characters worship or where their magic is from. And so I was like, okay, like I can see she's trying to do like an interesting little spin on this by showing us about the Saints, but it was just the way it was written I did not vibe with as a reader.
And they didn't have to be there that long in the Shadowfold.
Dude, they were there for like 300 pages, and I was like, oh my god, go home. Your country's in shambles. What are you doing playing tag in the Shadowfold? It's like, you gotta stop playing hide and seek, Nikolai. Your country's gonna fall apart right underneath you.
Yeah.
Jenny and David can only hold a country together for so long.
They did their best, you know.
They did their best. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Also, shout out to Tamar and Tolia. They got the stage time they deserved.
They really
They
did.
did.
They shine.
In King of Stars, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there could have been more of them in Rule of Wolves, for sure.
Yeah, but right, because Tolia is probably Arrow Ace. Confirmed. As of chapter 8.
Wait, okay, I feel like we're getting into Rule of Wolves. Do we want to get into that section?
I've been able to think about for 3 weeks. 2 weeks?
Yeah, let's get into Rule of Wolves. Mare, are you piecing out?
Yeah, I won't have any thoughts, so I don't want to like interrupt the flow of the discussion.
You
But
leave some comments.
I'll try. All right.
Okay.
Bye,
Bye, Mare. Bye, Mare.
Okay, this book.
Oh my god. Rule of Wolves.
Oh my gosh, everyone chose a chapter?
Well, I just did. I just changed
Okay.
mine.
I changed mine because I saw Katie
Let me
change
go,
hers.
let me
Like,
go look.
Wait, I didn't have a chapter.
I just want to acknowledge my babies.
I
The way
do have a
chapter
chapter. I just need
28
to see it.
radiates comfort. The way that chapter 28 is the best chapter I've ever read in my entire. Well, 15 is the best chapter. 28 is the second best chapter.
I just feel like I went into this book with like a list of things I wanted from it, and I got everything I wanted, but I still don't feel satisfied. I don't know how else to
The
describe
way I gave my list, yeah, on my list was like, I want more David and Jenya screen time, and I regret wanting
I rewatched. Okay, so I did a King of Scars review in like September. It was like my second video ever. And I rewatched it last night so I could prepare for this, so maybe I could have a funny joke. And I had 5 things I wanted in Rule of Wolves. Number 1, Zoyalai endgame. Solid. Yeah. Got it. Number 2, Jenya and David moments. I'm in pain. Number 3. Okay, this is the one that didn't come true, and I'm honestly a little bit mad about it. Do you remember, like, in King of Scars when Matthias's wife showing up?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What happened to him?
Yeah, where was he?
I was so ready for him to like join Nina and Nina to have a dog and her Hana love, you know? I was like ready for it. I was like,
oh my god.
not a dog. I was ready. And then Trassel never showed up. And I was like, okay.
We mentioned him in one sentence. They're like, Trassel is off with the wolves. And I was like,
I am picturing now Nina and Hana like living their best life with their dog, and I'm crying a little bit, so that's fine.
The fourth thing I wanted was an Alina cameo specifically. Worked out. And then I don't remember if I said I wanted Crow cameos, but I did.
I wanted the Crow cameos. That's all I wanted.
I didn't say I wanted Crow cameos though because I didn't think I would get them. You know, and I didn't want to get my hopes up because I was like, there's no way that's going to happen. And not only did we got all of them. We got all of them.
We really did. Leigh said, here's a gift.
This is for you.
I feel like my biggest thing with these books is that the only thing that was really keeping me interested were the characters. Like, that is what I was there for. I honestly did not care enough about the plot in these 2 books, but I cared so deeply for the characters. And everything I wanted had to do with characters. I wanted to see the crows. I wanted Nikolai and Zoya to get together. I wanted to see Nina and Hana. Hana. That was bad for me. I spoiled myself with that one a little because I went on Google the night that it came out thinking no one's going to like have wolves because it just came out. Typed in Hana Brum to see like how to pronounce the name, and it was like Brum's son. And I was like, that's weird. Must be an error. And then I kept reading. I kept reading. And they kept referring to Hana as a son and as a boy, which now I'm like, that's interesting because at the end of the book, I would say that Hana's almost more like non-binary or like gender fluid. Yeah. And I think they went back and updated that. That was just someone who read the book really quickly and had that opinion. But then I was like, what is going on here? So I knew that Hana was alive at the end, which is good. I didn't want to cry more.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
The Age of Ultron of the Grishaverse. Does that make sense?
Such a good way to bring it.
Because it felt like a new era was about to start, but it didn't feel like Endgame where you're like, this is the end.
Yeah.
You know, like oh, we're about to enter a new era. We might bring in new characters. You know, we're gonna have another Crow book. You know, like oh, here comes Captain America 3.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Yeah, I feel like Stars was like Ultron, and then Rule of Wolves was more like Civil War.
It's a Civil War.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're like just
Ravka could have burned to the ground, and I would have been like, "Are my characters okay?" Like I didn't
literally. I'm just like on the characters.
I kind of don't want a Six of Crows 3 book because Leigh Bardugo has said that if she does like another Six of Crows book, that she's gonna kill some of the characters, and I don't think I'm ready for it. However, if we get a Zoya book with these characters coming along, maybe she won't kill them. Maybe.
I feel like
Sonia, Jenya, Alina book right now. Ugh, I mean,
I just want the ending more than anything. Because, yeah, I also agree when people were like, there's going to be a third Six of Crows book. Like, just when we were reading the duology before Rule of Wolves, I remember being like, I don't need a third book. I just want to see the characters featured in another book, like a little cameo to know that they're okay. Like, that's all I need. I don't need more books. But then I read that last sentence in Rule of Wolves, and I was like, oh, third Crow book. And I'm not going to lie, like, I was like thrilled by the idea. But I also think so much was set up with the Shu and like Tamar and Mayu, I'm not sure. But I liked the character a lot. I just felt like
she was so dull.
Well, that's the thing. It was out of place, but to me, it felt like a setup. Like I felt like we're now like dipping our toes into like this other potential plot because it still felt very open-ended to me. How they left that off with like Tamar going to Ferja to like look for the laboratories and all that. I'm like, you can't just leave it there. There's more to be said on that. So I wonder if that is like leaving that open for another book or like further exploration.
I think Tamar.
I feel like, yeah, I was just gonna say, I feel like those POVs would have worked so much better if they were from Tamar's perspective, because we already like know her. We already are like somewhat invested in her character. And it would have like been a similar just read Paige's comment.
I agree.
I was like bargain when I was going through my bargaining phase of my 5 stages of grief. I was like, Tolia, take him. I love Tolia so much, like top 10 favorites, but I was like, take him. I just want.
I would have sacrificed Nadia, honestly.
Nadia, Adric, Leonie. I would sacrifice anyone.
Yeah.
Except maybe like Jenya's the only one would have been like, oh, that hurt just as bad. But
but I just wanted Jenya to be happy.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm so sorry, Katie.
Honestly, when I was writing back for my vaccination, when I was writing back, I was thinking about Jenya. You know how you do when you're depressed. And and I was like thinking about how much this poor girl has been through. And so like she gets to the little palace at like 5, right? Like she's like the youngest one there. And then she's handed off to be the queen's little servant because she's precious and the queen wants to work with her. And then from a young age, she starts getting raped by the king. Ooh, fun. And then she starts poisoning her skin and then like burning it off and then healing herself daily. And then the Darkling tortures and scars and rips her eye out. And then, guess what? She's so happy she gets to marry her childhood crush. And then he dies. Horrible. I hate it here.
Here's the thing. I think I'm literally David. Like, I am David in every single aspect. So when he died, I wasn't crying for Jenya. I was crying for myself. Like, I was like, I would have died. Like, I would have been dead if I was part of this book. So I was like, no, this is bad. And then I think it was so bad. I think the way he died was so pointless. And I've told you all how I feel about it. He should have been kidnapped and by whatever country you want. And then they would have been like, you have to make a bomb or you have to invent this amazing technology to kill, like, Bravka and like take over the world and whatever. And then David would have been like, no, I cannot do that to like my friend. So then they would have like, I don't know, killed him or at least torture him. Mm-hmm. That would have been so much better than just like the way he died.
A noble death, yeah.
You know what, too?
I would have like wanted him to be injured in some way where then he would have to learn how to work with like his disability to then like be able to use his powers, especially because like he's so wrapped up as like a fabric, like that's so much of his personality is what he can do, what he can invent. And so if like something had happened where he like had to completely rework how he uses his powers, I think that would have been a really cool storyline.
Yeah. I also think with that, like him being injured or something, then we would have had this whole interesting David arc of like, is he going to build bigger bombs for like you know, like, is he gonna stay true to his morals, or now that he's got some stake in it, like he's been personally affected by it, is sway either way? And here's my other issue with David's death is that, like, plot-wise and character development-wise, it literally does nothing. And, like, the thing is, too, like, I kind of get, I don't, but, like, I kind of see what Leigh Bardugo was trying to do in terms of Zoya's development, but being completely honest, it didn't work. Because if I were Zoya, and I was like, I will never be in love. Love just causes harm. And then my best friend's husband dies. That would not tell me that, oh, maybe I should open myself up to love. Like, that would be like, nope, closed forever, closed for business, not going to happen. But if David was injured, in a coma, kidnapped, and she had to watch Genya go through that, but then never lose the love she has, then I could see Zoya being like, oh, love perseveres. Love is for all of us, regardless of if your husband now can't walk. Like, I just, that would have worked so much better. And I think in terms of, like, the stakes of Ravka in this war, which is, like, arguably another reason he died, they were already, number one, very much, like, ready to fight this war. They were, like, there was no resistance. And number two, the bombing itself didn't. You know, I think just the loss of sections of the Little Palace was, like, enough. So
I'll be interested to hear how Leigh Bardugo chooses to explain this, because I feel like most people feel like his death was for nothing. Like, I was at the point where I read the end of the chapter where the bombing happens, and Jenya's like, I can't find David. And I was like, Genya, it's fine. Like, he's fine. Because why? Because why? Why would I think that David was going to be killed off? Like, there's no reason to think that that should happen. And I was FaceTiming Katie and Catherine. I was like, I'm reading this. And they both FaceTimed me. And I was like, dear God, why? And I read the first line of chapter 20. And I said to Katie and Catherine, why are they burning his body when he's alive? I was like, there's no way. Like, there's absolutely no way she killed off David. Why?
Yeah. It almost felt like, well, first of all, I feel like, number one, his death was solely for shock factor. And I was rereading chapter 15 specifically this afternoon to try and feel something. And as I was reading it, like, I think that chapter has low-key been tarnished by chapter 20, because all of the moments are David smiled. David did this. David did that. It was like the entire first half of the book. She was like, look how sweet David is. Look how happy he is. Look how great his life is. Oh, wait, he's dead. Like, it was all for, like, the people that weren't already invested in David, as in not me. Like, she spent 150 pages being like, are you invested in David? If you're not, you're gonna be. He has that whole monologue about how he's like, I did everything mindlessly. I regret what I did to Alina, like, all of this. And then she kills him. And I'm like, shock exclusively? Yeah, that's all it was.
I feel like we reverted back to the problem, like, one of my main problems with Rune and Rising, which was she introduced all these characters, Harsha, Ruby, those characters, just to kill them off. And I feel like it was the same thing with David, where she suddenly made him a very important character, because before that he had his, like, couple lines here and there. He had the I only know medal.
Beauty was your armor, fragile stuff. Oh,
there it is. So up until that, it was like little one-liners, and, like, you knew he was important to the, like, inner circle group, that word that I cannot pronounce because I don't know how to try whatever. I just say inner circle because my brain is stuck in ACOTAR world. But yeah, up until then, he was, like, an important part, but he wasn't, like, as focused on. And so then suddenly she did the same exact thing that she did in Rune and Rising, where suddenly, oh, he's an important character and I'm going to kill him. Versus in, like, with Matthias, like, that's such a different case. And I feel like it made sense why he died. And it, I
justify Matthias' death easily. I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a sidelined character brought into the spotlight just for death.
Do you know what did get me though? Was
What?
finding out that Joran was the one who killed Matthias.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude,
I was like, not you.
blew
I
my
liked his character though, like there was some stunning growth there and we love to see it. But at that point I was like, oh, like Jordan's kind of like a homie, like we stan. And then he was like, I killed Matthias. And I was like, bitch, not you. Sorry.
Oh, you're
I was
good.
like,
There's no rules on my channel.
Okay, great.
Claire, your reaction?
I just never know whose channel I'm allowed
No.
to say what.
Here's the thing. When Claire was reading Rule of Wolves and King of Scars, I feel like I watched too because we were FaceTiming every time you were reading it. So literally, like, I was just laughing at Claire's reaction because it was either or, like, there was no in between. Claire was either so preoccupied with what was happening or so happy. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, because we were on or no, Katie, we were on Mare's reading sprints together when I was like close to finishing. And I don't even remember what section. Oh no, I think that's when I read about Joran being the one who had bias. And I was like,
texting you like
you're like sending me
I was
pictures of my face,
watching
both of you.
Because your face
Reading
was
on my
reading
laptop.
it on your laptop. And so you were just like,
I was like, it looked like she got wounded. I was like, I know where she's at.
oh my God, it was so good.
Oh, yeah, that would hurt me.
Yeah.
We did love to see the growth there. And also just like Nina at the end of the day, what I really loved about Nina's storyline was that she honored Matthias and like set out to do what she'd promised him she would do. And she was able to do that with Hannah. God.
Hannah.
it's weird because the other books pronounces really weird.
Did they say Hannah?
I thought that's
Yeah,
how they said
something
it in the
like that.
audiobooks. Hannah.
Look.
Hannah? Okay. Well, I'm going to say Hannah because that's how I was reading it in my head.
Or Hannah.
But I love that Nina is able to accomplish this thing that she's doing for Matthias with Hannah, and like she's able to like find new love and like be happy again. And it's not like she's like letting go of Matthias or like forgetting about him because with this person she is still honoring him. And I thought that was so beautiful because like even the people who are like Matthias and Nina to the grave, it's like you can't be mad about that because she's still honoring him. And oh, so pretty.
And I can't expect her to not be like not move on with her life.
No.
I think that King of Scars like allowed her to have that like mourning period and to say her final goodbye and allow her to like move on. I do think the ending was really like rushed.
I have an issue with Nina's ending.
Agreed.
I have two issues. Number one, why did Hannah and Nina go from like just like a few like stolen kisses, you know, a one fabulous night together to, oh, let's get married and rule a country together. Like, I don't think that's the progression of a relationship. And it almost felt to me like Leigh Bardugo was like, hey, look, I put two girls together. If they don't end up happy, people are going to kill me. Like, I feel like that was what she was doing. And it was less like, congrats. Like, I feel like if it was a little bit more ambiguous, like, oh, they're together, but like there's no marriage plans in the sudden future after being together for less than a month, then I would have been more okay with it. I don't like that Nina stayed tailored, and I will die on this.
Yeah.
He should not have stayed tailored. It doesn't make sense.
I wish that they had like then like kind of run off together and she could have like become herself. I was happy that even though she is tailored, that she still stayed plus size, because if like her tailoring had included like shrinking her, that would have been my villain origin story there. I would have freaked out. But I was glad that she did like at least stay plus size. But that's another thing where I'm like, I want another book involving Nina where for whatever reason she does go back to looking like herself. And I wanted to just real quick, Paige's question. I don't think his name was ever revealed. And Matthias never even told Nina that it was Druskell who shot him. He like kind of just let her believe that it was just someone on the streets of Ketterdam because he didn't want her then like trying to seek revenge. So
Yeah.
just to answer that question.
Boy, I miss you, Matthias.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, like you're not wrong.
Like, yes, I do love that Nina ended up in her little sapphic relationship. Did I think it was rushed? Yes. Like, both can exist.
Yeah. And I think too, one of the things that I loved so much about God, yeah, about Ruin and Rising, I think was the first time I really was like, wait. And then we see it in the other books is Leigh really, I think I've talked about this before, and I think I
love it when you say this.
It's the casual queerness for me. It's the way the characters are just living their lives and liking who they like without it being like a deal. Like, they're just like, oh, I'm with this person now. And no one's like, oh, thank you for sharing. They're just like, ooh, yay, exciting. Yeah. Like, and with Nina, I remember in Six of Crows, I was like, okay, like fun time. And then I think it's Crooked Kingdom, maybe, where there's like a passing remark where I'm like, wait, are we a queer queen here? Yeah. And then in King of Scars, it's not even like Leigh was like, by the way, she's queer. It was just like a very natural progression. And I loved that. I love seeing her character be with people of two different genders and like just making it normal, because it is. And you rarely see that, especially in young adult literature. Like, it just does not come across that way.
They're always like, remember, like, it's always like, and Nina was bisexual, like in the text, you know?
Yeah.
I agree with that. The thing I'm worried about with Six of Crows 3, if it ever happens, is that with Nina's current position in the world, she wouldn't be in the book. She would be like a connection, maybe. Like, if the thing they're looking for is in Fjerda, which I don't think it would be, like, then she could be a connection, but, like, she would not be on the main heist of it.
She probably wouldn't be a POV. That's why I don't want a Six of Crows 3. I want it to be a next series.
But I also am starved for that Kenej content. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I want it. I
want it to be a new series with like all of the characters kind of smushed in together.
The last chapter made me give the book 4 stars instead of 3.5 because honestly, like the last sentence, I couldn't. Like, I just want to know what's gonna happen with Cass. Like,
yeah.
That is I firmly believe that last line is the best last line in any Grishaverse book.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
Chills ran through my body when I flipped the page and saw that was the last line. I was like, and I accidentally read the last line, like while I was trying to look for the poster. Like, I was like, because mine came with a poster, so I was like, ooh, the poster. But I accidentally looked at the last line, and I just saw Crow Club, I saw Queen, and I saw Kaz, and I was like, ah! And it closed.
And I loved seeing the characters again, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that's where I was like, oh, this really is all about the characters for me. It was when I saw the crows. That was like the best moment of the book for me, was seeing them all together and like just like the banter, and also like that scene with Nikolai and Zoya before, like just like the slow burn. It's so good.
Slow burn.
I need to talk about Nikolai and Stormhond again. Like,
he got his dream. Okay, you know what I love about the end of this book is that number one, I didn't see it coming that they were going to switch roles.
Yeah, me neither.
I did not see it coming that they were going to switch roles. But when it happened, it was like, it all makes sense.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like,
it did make
and
sense.
then did you freak when you got Kaz's cameo? That's the question.
We'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to say that I think that the switch of power was so good. Like, of course, like when every time they were like, Zoya should be queen, I was like, yeah, she should marry Nikolai. Like, that was where my brain immediately went. And then it was like, no, Nikolai is going to give the throne to Zoya, and he's going to be the trophy husband pirate he always wanted to be. And I was like...
What I loved about that moment is that it was Nikolai like giving up power, and I thought that was such an important moment to his character too, like him being like, yeah, well, because like
I love them so much. Like they're honestly the only thing that I cared about in this freaking book. Like.
Yeah. When they finally kissed, I felt so powerful. I was like, this is everything.
The way that Zoya says that Nikolai was like the golden hero, her aunt, like, no, it's when she says from the first time she saw him, she knew he was the golden hero her aunt had talked about.
I can't. Like,
Leigh Bardugo was smart to put the two hottest people together, too. Like, those canonically the two hottest people in the world.
She said this couple is for the queers. That couple was for the queers.
This is for your gay panic right here. Oh my god. Yes.
I was so like, honestly, I was like, when are they gonna kiss? Like the whole book. And it was so slow burn, but it was so worth the payoff when they finally kissed. And like,
Nicole is just freaking out.
I can't. Like, it was so good.
For the whole time between books, everyone was like, they're so cute together. We know this. All of the text posts were like, they're gonna be cute together. And then they were cuter together than we ever imagined.
The way they're flirting about like taking a nap together and everything too, that scene, I was screaming. I was like, marry each other now.
I feel like if they had kissed any sooner, it wouldn't have been as good.
No.
Like it needed that slow burn. And if there's like one thing that out of everything else in the Grishaverse, if there's one thing Leigh Bardugo is good at, it's the slow burn. Like between Kazan and Nej, between Zoya and Nikolai, like her slow burn romances are the best romances. It's
she kills it. Okay, my favorite one is when they're walking to go like torture the Darkling forever, and like Nikolai's all thinking, and he turns around and he's like, "Kiss me right now," and she's like, "God, why? You're so annoying," but she does it anyway. They're perfect for each other.
It's literally so good. It's so good.
The way that every single time Zoya would like think about, and he's gonna get married and we aren't gonna be able to flirt like this. Marry him then. Come on.
Marry him.
I think
just marry him. Your reasons are stupid for not marrying him. Just do it.
in chapter 31. Okay, we'll go into it because I do want to talk about it. But in chapter 31, Nikolai, this is I love this one so much. Nikolai's like, I want you to be like my general. I want you to be, and he starts listing like things that he wants Zoya to be, and then I want you to be my wife. And
like my queen, and I'm just like,
my queen, yeah, my queen.
When Zoya says, I think that's why I love you, and he's like, say it again, and she's like,
oh my god. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Like the way I'm gonna read this book again this week, like after this.
Want to reread Rule of Wolves?
I don't think
I would only reread the chapters with them, like because I don't care about anything else.
I don't think I can emotionally.
I will literally just skip Nai's chapters and the Darkling's chapters.
And now let's talk about the Darkling because
let's talk about the Darkling, Nicole.
I just want to say that I'm really pissed. The Darkling is my favorite villain. We already know this. And when I say that I love the Darkling, I don't mean that I want him with any character. I want him for myself. Like I don't ship him with anyone, and I know he's a murderer and whatever, but I just think he's such an interesting villain, and I love him so much. And in this book, he was so weak. He was just so annoying. When he told that random person, like, you and I are going to change the world. No, sweetie. you and I will. Why are you telling that to other people?
Anyone.
Like
The way Nicole is jealous of the random.
no, here's the thing. Like, he said it to Soya, he said it to Alina, and I'm pretty sure he said it to any other girl in his life. So, like, it's okay. I know I'm not special or anything, but now you're saying it to a random man. Like, what? What are you
I'm
doing?
gonna slut shame the Darkling. Dude, keep it together.
Like,
With everyone.
yeah. And I just hated how in the end, like, he sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
That
it.
Honestly, I don't really know what happened at the end. I'm
I know
gonna
that
be
he's
real.
really tortured, but I don't know why. I don't
I
understand.
Yeah, he's
think-
stuck in a tree, right? Like he's inside of a tree.
But it's just so confusing because I don't know if
Beats
he
me.
was trying to, like, make people don't hate him as much or, like, feel a little bit like something for him or, like, don't feel bad for him. But I was like, what is the point? Like, the Darkling would never, like, he would have never said that.
I do
So,
like
I think we're gonna get another book, and there might be more to it. But
well,
I don't
it
know.
better be because
I think she did set up for writing more books in the future. It may not be a few years before I have hiccups. It may not be a few years before we get that. But I think she did set it up for the possibility of more books. Or she just set it up for us to write fan fiction and write her own books. What
I think
I
she said that
found,
where she was like, I have left a few doors open that she's like, I could go back and play if I want to, but she's like, it won't be for a while. And it's also like, if I never go back, then you guys can go nuts with it.
yeah.
I hope she goes back. There's a lot of things I want real answers for.
I want
yeah.
she left a lot of things too open-ended to just be like, this is the end. Like, if she, even if it takes a few years, I would be kind of like, really not continue on.
I actually think it's gonna be less years than we think, because I think that the TV show is gonna escalate the hype, and then she's just gonna end up getting paid so much to write more books that who knows the quality level, but she's gonna get paid so much to write more books for it that it's gonna not matter, you know? She's gonna be pumping them out every 2 years.
I
Yes,
agree 100% with this.
yes. I was so disappointed. Like,
Well,
so
yeah.
freaking disappointed.
You just felt weak.
I liked what everyone had to say. Like, one thing, and it's something that I talked about when we talked about Six of Crows, was I like when other characters talk about another character because I feel like we get so much insight. So I liked what a lot of the characters had to say, and like hearing about like Jenya and Zoya and even David, like talking about like healing from their trauma of being with the Darkling. I really liked those moments, but like I agree. I feel like the whole Darkling storyline was really weird, and I felt like it didn't need to, like, we didn't need his POV. I thought his POV was interesting just in terms of his like voice, because I thought he had a very like strong voice in his chapters. Also, I hated that
In a long time. Like, I was like, okay, I hated his chapters, like, plot-wise. I was like, this is so boring. How does it never even really tied in that much. Like, even the Mayu chapters, I was like, I hate it, but it's in. The Darkling chapter, I hated it because of the Darkling, but I was laughing at how strong his voice is, because it was everything I had ever thought his voice would sound like if we had been in his head at a different point in time. And so I thought he was hilarious. I actually know.
Honestly,
I think she wrote him back in. I think she wrote him back in just because she wanted to tell the Dark Lena stans, here's everything wrong he did. Don't simp for him. Because I felt like every chapter, as much as like I appreciated it, because as someone who's been like, he's been grooming everyone, he murdered everyone, he did all this. Like, like a lot of people go, but he's hot. And then felt like Leigh Bardugo was saying, I don't like the Darkling in 600 pages.
Mm-hmm.
And
it felt like Leigh Bardugo was hitting everyone over the head and being like,
giving us a good old bomb.
was
Like,
pointing
she
at
wrote an amazing villain, and she wrote him to be like very morally gray at times. And I liked in King of Scars how Nikolai even admitted to Yuri how he was like, I don't think what he was setting out to do is wrong. I think it's the means, like how he went about it.
Mhm.
But I think one of my favorite moments in this book was Jenya and Zoya and Alina like getting together, and like how Zoya was like, this is for us to decide because he did us wrong in different ways, but all of them were traumatizing. And also like Jenya's moment where she's like, I don't forgive you for this, this, and this, because what you did to me is like disgusting and inexcusable, because I feel like those are things that get overlooked with her. Like we're like, oh, murderer, which is also like a very horrible thing. But like the murder overshadows like all these like, I don't even want to say little things because they're not little, but like we just don't think about the things he did to the individuals as much. And like she called him out, she dragged him. Oh, it was so good.
I'm just embarrassed.
My favorite thing is every time Jenya like just drags a man. Like every time she drags a man, I'm like, yes,
Jenya
Jenya.
drags a man. I gave 3 years on my life. If you know what I'm embarrassed about, you guys, the whole book, I was like ready to start shipping the Darkling and Nikolai. They had that one scene in chapter 9 where
Catherine Bonker.
Darkling was like, you never come visit me. He's like, well, no one likes you. And I was like, God, what if they were together?
I think it would have been really interesting if the Darkling had been kind of a mentor to Nikolai.
Oh my God.
That would have been really interesting. Yeah.
I just think lovers to enemies, Darkling Nikolai. Like, let's go.
Join us in the room, Katie.
I will mute you.
I'm out.
I told you I was embarrassed about it, but I can't stop.
Also, can we go back for a moment? Because someone in the comments earlier said, what about Pirate Inej? And can I just say that when David died, the words I spoke to Katie and Catherine were, I'm going to DNF this book unless I know that Pirate Inej shows up. You have to tell me now, will Pirate Inej show up? And they went, you need to wait for it. And when I tell you I waited till like the second to last page, but it was worth it.
Oh my God, her and Zoya hanging out. That's even what I always wanted to see.
Even just hearing from Nikolai, like when he's talking to Kaz about what Inej has been doing and how she's been like causing upheaval in like Ketterdam with the politicians and like sending people to jail. Like that was all I needed. I just wanted to hear that she was killing it. And like, I'm just so happy for Pirate Inej.
I would read a 7-book series of just Pirate Inej. And that is not an exaggeration.
Absolutely. Okay, the best scene is when first Kaz shows up and teases Nikolai for his unrequited feelings for Zoya. And then literally 2 pages later, Nikolai goes, oh, do you know Captain Inej Gaffa? And he's like, no. And he's like, I know you do. They were like,
the way his steps faltered.
Okay, and then also when they go to pick up Wylan and Jesper, and Wylan's like, we don't do crime in this house. And he's like, but Inej is in trouble. And he's like, we do lots of crime in this house.
I love her.
Why didn't you
mention
so?
Inej and they immediately go. They immediately go, day do crimes.
And then he's like, but will you do it for Inej? And they're like, my angel? Yes.
Okay.
Wait, also,
in Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, that's all I cared about. Like, their friendship.
It's the way that Wylan low-key has Jesper whipped. Like, we don't do this. We don't want crime. We don't need money. And Jesper's like, I kind of want to commit crime.
It's when Kaz knocks on the door and he's like, I can't let you in, Bestie. Bestie, I'm sorry. I'm afraid to tell you this.
Like, all I cared about was that. I love them so much.
Yep.
Okay, the most unrealistic scene in the whole series, and this is a high fantasy series that makes no sense, was when Kaz is at the Van Eck estate and Jesper and Wylan are flirting, and he literally says, "This is why I don't come over more often." Like, sir, those are your best friends. You hang out twice a week there, and you guys have card games and dinner every Friday. Don't lie to us.
So much.
The thing is, like,
If you want to hear something really unhinged, just talk to me and Katie about our idea of when Wylan and Jesper have a child, and the child immediately attaches themselves to Kaz Brecker.
What's the quote we used to? Oh, it's that John Mulaney quote where he's like, "We're not so different, you and I. I have my law practice, and you have all of these markers." Like, that's the dynamic.
I have my underground empire. You have all your markers.
I hate it.
So that's your future.
Stop this.
I cannot tell you
He would murder for the child. Like, he would commit murder. He would, like, do anything for this child. Wait, I love it.
Uncle Kaz.
I picture #stressed dad Wylan when Uncle Kaz gives a 3-year-old child a bunch of knives for Grishaverse Christmas. Like,
Okay, hear me out. Jesper would be a DILF.
This is why I want a third Six of Crows book, but I don't want a third Six of Crows book. I just want an entire book of the Crows banter, just living their life. That's all I want.
I don't care about plot. I just want them
need a
to
fight.
hang out. I need like a Christmas
or FBI, I want like a transcript of like the FBI listening in on the household, just them talking. That's it. That's all I want.
We will write all the young dudes, but in the Grishaverse.
All the young dudes, Grishaverse. Oh my god.
oh, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. I've already posted one unhinged Grishaverse fanfic this week. I'll do it again.
Oh my god. Okay, we have like 5 minutes before Claire has to leave. Is there anything in particular that y'all want to talk about before then? Any like particular character?
Nope. I said it all.
No.
Oh, Nikolai saying meant something different to be strong for Zoya. That's it. Those are my only thoughts.
I love it. Real quick.
We have to talk about David for 20 minutes, but you know, we shan't.
We can continue to talk about David.
Katie, you guys, okay, people in the chat, I need your opinion on this because I think we all agree. Jenya, end of the book. Pregnant? ?
Waits for the
I
chat.
agree. Like it would be.
I think I've seen 9 people be like, "Oh, Jenya's pregnant," and I was like, "You're absolutely right," and I started it.
That would be so sad, though.
Right?
But at the same time, it would be
But then she has like a little piece of David, you know, like she gets to like raise their child and like imagine like all the aunts and uncles in the child or whatever it's called.
Uncle Nikolai, Aunt Zoya.
Uncle Nikolai, like, Jenya, I'm taking your child on my flying ship, and she's like, "Don't you dare!" And he's like, "Too late."
Uncle Tolya.
Yeah,
I can never say his name. Just reading poetry to baby.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is like at first I was like, "Oh, her being pregnant, that's depressing," but then I'm like, her getting to like raise that child with like her best friends and like in the place where she fell in love with David, and like I feel like that would like help her healing.
Alina and Mal babysitting. Stop it.
Wait, what'd you say?
They could take the baby to visit his brick. Ah!
His brick?
Because they put any of the like dead Grisha, they make them a part of the little palace. That's like instead of a grave, they fabricate their ashes.
You know,
Imagine.
No, but what did
came
you
out.
say, Catherine, before that?
Oh,
Right.
Ella and Mal babysitting for little baby David.
Oh, Paige is right there. We didn't
Yeah.
talk about the Mal Alina cameo, even though that was my favorite cameo. Fight me. That was hilarious. When Mal was like, "You guys are still fighting about the same thing, and you're both dead." And I was like,
That was good.
also, I wish Misha would have said, "I'm your mom's favorite son." Like that was what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
No, it's
I love
Yeah.
Misha. He has the unbridled confidence that I wish I had in my life.
To go back to what Paige said about when are the watch-alongs.
yes. Okay, so we're trying to figure out when we're gonna do, because we do want to do like a Netflix party watch along for the Shadow and Bone show, as well as we are actually planning on doing one last live show for the show on Katie's channel. So it's probably going to be like 2 weeks after the show airs, just to give people enough time to watch it, even though, like, let's be real, we're all going to be binging it at midnight. So yeah, it is going to be on Katie's channel, our like live show discussion for the show. And then we're trying to figure out logistics for the Shadow and Bone watch along. We're thinking it may be day of on the 23rd. Is that what we were thinking?
I was thinking the Saturday, because then everyone is free. So the
Yeah.
24th.
So what we
So-
could do is maybe we can like post a poll on the Discord
Yeah.
Yeah.
with like a
TBD
few
on
dates and time.
It's
Yeah.
gonna happen. When? I don't know, but it's coming.
So
It's fine.
join the Discord if you're not already a part of the Discord, and we'll do a whole. I have hiccups still. We'll do a whole poll trying to figure out what time would be best for everyone to watch it. It'll probably be like my third time watching the show. Let's be real. So.
Yeah. At that point, it'll be 2 or 3.
Yeah.
stunning.
So there's
Unless-
that.
Then it'll be 2.
Unless
got to duck out because I have to go
Yeah.
to work. But if y'all want to keep going and keep crying together, have a blast.
I also have to leave.
Catherine and Katie,
Well,
if you
just
want
me
to
and
keep
Katie.
going
I could talk about David for another hour, and you know it.
really quick before you go, rank the books favorite to least favorite.
Oh my god. Okay.
One favorite character.
Like all the Grisha books. Okay.
Yeah. So starting with Claire.
definitely Six of Crows, Crooked Kingdom. No. Six of Crows, Ruin and Rising.
I know
Crooked Kingdom. Oh my gosh, my brain won't. Which one did I like better? I think Rule of Wolves, Siege and Storm, Shadow and Bone, King of Scars.
Nice.
That was best or worst.
fair.
Okay.
Who's your number one favorite character, too? I want to know.
My favorite character?
Yeah.
In the
In the-
whole Grishaverse?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't have one. I love my crow couple, Jesper and Wylan. But
Yes.
individually, I love Inej. And I love Nicole. So yeah, I'm done. Nicole?
Okay, so for me, I would say my number 1, Ruin and Rising. My
Yes!
number 2, Siege and Storm. My number 3, Six of Crows.
Okay.
My number, what is it?
4.
Yeah, you're on 4.
Shadow and Bone. My number 5, Crooked Kingdom. Number 6, Rule of Wolves. Actually, no. Rule of Wolves and then Crooked Kingdom, and then at the end, King of Scars. And my favorite character, Jesper. Like,
Fair.
who are we kidding? Like, I love
Not the
Jesper.
Darkling?
Okay, here's the thing. I love the Darkling. Like, I do. I'm thirsty for him, but Jesper, he like,
He's
if
the whole
Jesper- Like if something happened to Jesper, I would literally be crushed. I would never like get out of bed. But the Darkling, like we already saw him die, and I did cry, but I was okay.
That's
Okay.
fair.
I was okay. Jesper, he's just like
Don't touch him.
he's Jesper.
Katie, go
Okay,
real fast.
Crooked Kingdom, Rule of Wolves, Ruin and Rising. I know a Rule of Wolves hurt me, but like I kind of really enjoyed it. Ruin
Crooked
and
Kingdom's your fave?
yeah,
Damn, I didn't know that.
there's something about those couples getting together that means the world to me. I'm like,
Vibes.
Ruin and Rising, and then I'm gonna go Six of Crows, Siege and Storm, Shadow and Bone, King of Scars.
Nice. Okay, mine is also Crooked Kingdom. Crooked Kingdom, Six of Crows. I know. I just love Crooked Kingdom. I love it.
I do too.
Yeah, Crooked Kingdom, Six of Crows, Rule of Wolves, Ruin and Rising, Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, King of Scars.
That's why I was trying to debate between Shadow and Bone and Siege and Storm. I feel like they're kind of interchangeable for me.
They're interchangeable. Depends on my
The
mood.
only thing that would make Siege and Storm better is the introduction of Nikolai. That's the only.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Wait, favorite characters? As if I have to ask.
Oh, David.
Nina, obviously.
New.
I wish I could have one that I was the most passionate about.
I mean,
You know what?
I
Don't
love,
do it. It hurts.
Don't.
Don't choose one. Always have backup, babies.
Because I
We
love
have
like Nikolai and Zoya together, and I love Catherine and Nej together, and I love Jesper and Wylan together, but I love just Nina in general.
Like,
See,
Kaz
for
is
me-
my favorite crow because he's with Inej, and their relationship makes me go feral. Like, that's why. You know,
I think for me, it's like this weird combo of like ranking my favorite couples, but not like the couples. Like Nina and Inej together, their friendship just makes me go wild. But like Jesper and Wylan, because I think Jesper might be my fave individual, but also Inej. I don't know what it is about Inej that gets me, but she gets me.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and
You
I
have
love
to
you
keep
all.
Ned.
Go to work.
You have to
Oh my
keep
God.
Ned.
Love you all, and we're gonna do another live talking about the show because otherwise I'll cry.
Yeah, we are doing one more.
Bye.
Okay, yeah. What?
Oh, is Nicole leaving too, or is she still here?
Are you leaving, Nicole?
Yeah, I'm still here. Like we can wrap it up, or are you gonna still like keep going?
Are we wrapping it up?
No, because like
We
if we're wrapping it up, I can stay for the wrap up. If not, like I'll just.
I think we'll wrap it up here, and then any thoughts we will discuss things in the Shadow and Bone live show, I guess, or we'll just do reading sprints with all five of us and talk more about it. Let's be real. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
David's death was pointless, and I am very upset. I cried about it again this morning when was that yesterday morning that I put you guys, do we think David knew that he was going to die, or do you think he was caught off guard?
Yeah, you messaged us that. It was so rude.
I keep sending Catherine the most horrible messages at like 6:30 in the morning when I wake up, where I'm like, do you think?
The worst part is when I'm still awake from the night before and you're waking up for your day and you send these messages to me to go to sleep to.
And they're just
I think that's really funny.
The fact that Katie gets up early and I go to sleep at 4 a.m. Yes, it's hilarious.
It is. No, I have been in so much pain for the last week and a half. I have never mourned a character this hard. Like,
Yeah.
it hurts
Fair.
so bad.
Nicole, any remaining thoughts?
Not really. I cried when Jesper and Wyling came out, but
I love them.
I love them. Like honestly, I don't know if you saw my video, like the recent one. I have a lot of fan art saved for Jesper, and that's when I realized that he was my favorite crow. Or
I was cracking
Grishaverse character. Like,
Yeah.
I knew that I loved him. I just didn't know how much I loved him.
I also like that Leigh Bardugo said Mal deserves rights during his like one cameo. She was like,
Okay,
"Hey guys,
I agree. He
Mal
surprised me.
is so funny in that cameo." He's like scared.
Nicole,
So I
okay
love
with Mal? Is it just
I
because you
don't
were
love him.
picturing Archie?
Oh my
Archie's
god,
so
Dill.
hot.
Archie's
What the
a
hell?
Dill. He's a Dill.
On that note, thank you so much for coming to our I'm gonna have Archie as a DILF on my channel. Why, guys? Come on.
You know what's the best
Okay,
part?
you know what?
He's a
Yeah.
Delph in real life.
Wait,
Like that's not even
But
me. Just
does he have a girlfriend? Or no?
I don't know.
'Cause
he did,
Archie,
and they
if
got
you're seeing this, you can hit
Well,
me
he
up.
has a child, so he had a girlfriend at some point, I'm assuming.
But is he single right now?
I don't know.
Because if he is, I'm just gonna
You know
slide
who
into
is
him.
single? Ben Barnes is single. So
Do you know that I didn't realize that Callahan Skogman was American until like yesterday?
yeah, he's from
Wait.
Wisconsin. Fun
I
fact.
literally like
I
I
know
thought
why.
they were all British. And then all of a sudden I was watching this video that showed up on my Explore page and he was talking and I was like, whoa. Whoa.
And he lives in LA. And don't ask me how I know this. It's a long story.
What? Your friend got matched with him.
My friend matched with him on Hinge.
I wish.
And she didn't recognize.
I would.
He had a picture with Kit in one of his like pictures on Hinge.
The flex.
Yeah.
They were all British. I was like, oh, I can't stand this cast. They're all British. And then there's a token American, the white boy.
Token American. Oh my god. Okay.
I think we do need Nikolai to be American.
Nikolai's unchecked confidence has to be captured by an American, and I will not accept it. If they cast a British person, Nikolai,
maybe it's
his
just because I really like British.
Wait, you know what? Australian. I think Australian white people.
Oh,
the white men,
they're absurdly confident. You're right.
yeah. So I think maybe Australian.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I do
Okay.
have one more thing.
Okay.
There's one more-
Go.
That
Okay.
Chapter
what?
15. Chapter 15 was everything I've ever wanted, and I cried. That's all. Watching them get married
Thank you.
makes me lose my mind. Thank you. That is all.
My final thought is it would have been the perfect book if Nina's chapters had ended one chapter sooner and if Mayu's chapters didn't exist.
Same. I hated those chapters.
Mayu's chapters are so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like it should have been Tamar, or
It
it
shouldn't
should have just been
But it
an
did.
info dump.
It made it
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. On that note, we're going to go. We're ending this. Nicole has to go do homework, and me and Katie need to heal.
If you can hear me, I miss you, sir.
I'm trying to end this live, Katie.
You just cut me off. You know, I just keep talking.
Okay. Stay tuned. Anyone who is still watching this disaster, stay tuned. Join our Discord so you can find out info about our watch along and our Shadow and Bone TV show, live show discussion thingy. Join the Discord. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Thank you. It's been a lovely time. That is the end. Goodbye.